Normally, I try and start these streams with a really professional intro. I don't know why, because this isn't a really professional broadcast. But it's like part of the mentality. Anyway, here's Chess Rush. Welcome to the Co-op Clash presented by Premier Gaming. My name's TJ, joined today by Chaos Seraph, who quite regularly plays in Group B.
And we'll be playing later today, but how's everybody doing?
Is that a little bit of self-promo you're sliding in? Can I follow you on Google+?
Google+. Who uses that?
Apparently a whole bunch of role-playing groups and Brazilians, so take that as you will. Unfortunately for both, the service is closed now, but it's okay, because I know of something that's opened in its wake. Let's take a look at the teams so far. I'm interested to see so many elves off the bat. Two different groups of people running that Nightingale.
That's because Punisher Assassin's one of the strongest builds in the game, so everybody's taking every early Nightingale they can get their hands on.
I'm really excited because I've been seeing a ton of the Nightingale comps in my personal game, but everyone always does the same thing. They try and run Punisher, and they start with the Nightingales because they're crazy common in the early game. And they get to about the mid-game, and they realize they're not getting enough demons because 6 people are trying to do the same comp. And then they just decide to go Elf. And that's been a lot of fun for me because I play Sorcerer comps. So the Elf comps are sick to hit with fireballs.
Oh, yeah. that must be a good time for you.
Fortunately, these players, presumably, aren't going all that way. I assume we'll see some people drop off, and we already have only 3 Nightingales left after a round. Are any of these comps particularly exciting for you?
Not yet. Early co-op, it's kind of just grab stuff until you can figure out what you're doing. Ninja's got some riders going, some furries going.
Ninja,
Punisher for kill shot.
Ninja, who was hanging out with me on the broadcast for Group B last time, was telling me that they felt like their recent performances in these tournaments had just been stymied by the fact that they never got good draws. They'd be like, oh, we'll go for this comp, and they'd never get it. And it did seem that way. I know that's a frequent excuse, but it did seem like the ATF side were getting rather consistently stuffed by the draft. So it's nice to see them start things off with Goblin, Warrior, Rider, all the things you want.
Yeah, that's just... I use that excuse sometimes because I've just been forcing Punisher Assassin too much and playing Turbo where the RNG is even worse because it's so much shorter now. In co-op, there's almost no excuse for that. Like, you should be able to just grab whatever build's given to you and have your partner fix it for you.
While we get through these early rounds, I suppose I should run through the teams just to make sure everyone's on the same page. Our teams today, as indicated in the bottom corner, are Dark Promise, which is Dark Magician and I Promise. United Esports, signified by the UNT logo, that's I Gameplay and Iravasto. A Troubled Feel, which is I Killshot and Ninja, a familiar face to anyone who's seen these tournaments. And Wrecking Crew, which is Roxy and Mystery Person, which I believe must be the Discord names of Viral and EJN, or we've had a sub. I don't know which. But I'll keep them credited as Wrecking Crew until somebody tells me that it's wrong. And we will...
that's usually the name Jerry gives to the sub-teams. One of them dropped, so...
We'll live with it then. They are the Wrecking Crew.
Yeah.
Ninja does drop around while we're running through all that. The early riders don't save them. What's your dream comp right now at high or low?
Punisher Assassin is what I've been playing a ton
Still
of.
Punisher Assassin?
But with my experience with it, I'm like trying to change it a bit, but without the custom lineup generator, it's a problem.
I Promise at the top of the board is currently running a little bit of a grab bag. Got a couple of those demon assassins for the back line, but the front line is some warriors, some goblin. We'll see how it goes. He's being passed a Nightingale and a Siren from Dark Magician. So we should talk about this. The reason the Punisher Assassin composition is so powerful is because it's two separate buffs that are both really solid in their own right and don't require full boards to achieve. You can have 3 Assassins and it's solid. You can have 4 Demon Punishers and it's solid. And then they synergize really well, because the thing Demon Punishers do really well is fighting front lines as kind of tanky, beefy boys. And the thing the Assassins do really well is diving the back lines, but they need someone to be a tanky, beefy boy and fight the front line of the opponent. So you have really fun synergy between the Demon Punishers and the Assassins that back them up.
Yeah, what's really busted about it is Lilith, because she gets the guaranteed crit from Assassin plus the AoE. So depending on how your jump works, you're almost more times than not you're getting a 2/3 person crit. Sometimes all 4 people getting crit for like 1,000, 1,500 damage right at the start of every fight. But I've been playing 6 Assassin with it, and the front line doesn't last long enough when it's just the Punishers up there. So I'm kind of messing around with it a bit and trying to fit in maybe Riders or some Warriors up there, so that you just use Lilith, like Sword Dancer and Siren or something.
That's interesting. So my personal experience has been that the Devourer plus maybe a Warlock buff is more than enough to be super chill, super cool in the front line. Is that just because I'm not playing at a high enough level where people's comps are cool enough? Do you need something else?
My build, like the 6 Assassin build works. The Devourer gets off like 3 or 4 hits, but he's like up there by himself almost. Because you got your Nether Prince up there, you've got your Nightingale up there, and your Devourer, and then whatever second Warlock you have sitting behind them. So the other thing I've been messing around with is I'm not liking how weak Stinger is in the game right now. So I've been, especially because like the build fell apart against the tankier builds like Warrior and Rider, I've been messing around with switching Stinger to Siren and Misfortune to Void Doom, so that Void Doom could eat the health of the tanky units, and then you get an actual Assassin out of Siren instead of Stinger. Because Stinger just goes in and dies, boom, dead. Like, she gets off like 1 auto almost.
Alright, but she's trying her hardest, okay? There was a period where the Stinger was stupid, so I, for one, welcome the different end of the spectrum, because I'm quite done with my sorcerers being one shot. Let's talk about some weird strats that are taking place in this game, though. This boy over on Unified, I'm going to have to make sure, because his name's cut off, I'm going to make sure I get his name right. iGameplay is currently lost streaking. He's only got 4 characters, now 5 on the board. He just got the level 5, and he's up to 40 crystal. Normally we say this is a bad idea in co-op for a couple of reasons. One, you lose HP real fast in co-op. That's just because there's a couple extra units on the board, and generally because the pace of the game moves quicker. 2, our scoring system gives you bonus points, then this is less of a factor, but our scoring system gives you bonus points for having a lot of HP, so you're incentivized to not lost streak. And 3, in co-op, once you fall behind, it's not just that you're lost streaking, it's not just that you're not able to have the 3-star units, you're not passing your 2 and 3-star units to your ally. So they also suffer because you're saving for a while. So the fact that iGameplay is saving money, but his buddy isn't, makes it hard for his buddy.
Yeah, they're going to be the first out almost. Almost guaranteed because of that. Unit might be able to get, like, I had that one tournament with Nate where Nate lost streaked and then ended up just, like, dying before you could spend his gold, but I managed to get, like, the Berserker full 6 Warriors when that was OP and, like, went on a 17 win streak in a row because I spent, like, it's possible that Unit manages to pull that out, but, I guess the one that's spending gold manages to do something similar, but it's really hard in co-op to come back after lose streaking.
Yeah. So it's iGameplay on the board. You can see he's just hit that 50 crystal mark. So he does have a massive advantage now. If he spends, because he's going to be able to spend 10 to 15 crystal a turn, depending on his win-loss streak, just reliably. And that is a huge advantage. The amount of rerolls that earns you, the amount of easy XP that earns you is giant. But I just feel it may be too little too late. Especially because he seems to be going cyborg comp. It's unclear.
Yeah, and his partner's not even passing him to Ryder. Not that Ryder's a good... Like, Ryder's not a good one to be spending the gold with because the 2 Ryder buff is so weak. But there's also situations where, like, somebody who's spending the gold hits, like, 3-star Steel Fist, 3-star Misfortune, and sends those to the person who's been lost streaking. So that, like, they even out, and one's able to save gold, and the other one's just, like, sending 3-star units over with the cyborgs or whatever in the early game. But he's building Riders. 2 Rider buff is negligible at best. It might as well not even be existent. And he's sending a 2-star Frost Lotus instead of the 2-star Riders. So they're really just doing a lot of bad things right now.
And this is kind of why I hate the lost streaking in co-op. Because, sure, you did hit that 50 gold mark, but he actually had to go under it in order to reroll. So he's only had, like, 1 turn of that perfect refresh, and now he's on 23 HP, and that's within kill range if he loses round quite badly. So, all of that saving, losing 90% of his HP, may have bought him, what, a free round of good spending? That's just not enough, especially when everyone else is still on par just by going a more traditional safe route. He's not got a level advantage at the end of all this.
Yeah, it'd be different if it was Classic and you hit, like, 50 gold at 50 HP and you could afford to lose a couple more rounds. But when you go to 50 gold in co-op, you're almost guaranteed to be at 30, if not 20.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not enough because then you just have to spend because you're dead in 1 hit. So it's not even worth it. Like, you build all this time to get the extra interest, and then you don't even get a single round of the extra interest because you're forced to spend or die.
Yeah. Already, again, below that 50 gem mark, so he wasn't getting the maximum interest this last round. The extra cash flow has made him a little bit tougher. He's managed to roll a little bit more, but his composition just isn't caught up with what everyone else is running. He's still got this weird smattering of buffs. Couple warriors, couple cyborgs. It's not cohesive.
Like, it's worth noting because, like, me and Max won last week with Max lose streaking in the second game, but Max does that almost every game. Well, 4 Riders and hit 6 Riders when he hit 50 gold. Like, he needed to hit 6 warriors off of hitting 50 gold at the same time.
Yeah.
So that he hit a buff that sustained him, but
there needs to be a defined goal. Having said that, his scrape does manage to win him around versus Killshot. So maybe all of this will lead to a turnaround. Maybe all of this will be worth it in the end. I believe. Let's, given that we do look a little bit more stable over on iGaming, let's throw up to the top of the board because iPromise has quietly been going undefeated. And I'd love to unpack how he's doing it. It looks like exactly what we were talking about during the pre-game. 6 Assassin right off the bat. He wasn't able to get the full Demon Punisher roster, but it didn't matter because he had other beefy boys to be the front line. In this case, it was a 2-star Ice Tusk, a 2-star Goblin Rider. Not the biggest of tanks, but enough. So, those tanks, which I say with our quotations, do a fine enough job of drawing aggro that the 6 assassins playing behind them can just erase whatever backline, whatever other units are being played on the board, and then it's an easy cleanup of the round, even though the quote-unquote tanks do die real fast. I'm going to throw back down to iGaming, because he's got a grand total of 7 HP at the end of all that. He has re-hit that 50 gem mark, and he's got a AI round, so he has money to burn. Do you go all the way down to 0? Do you just spend all of your cash at this point?
Yeah, he's dead this turn, so unless he finds 6 warrior, that's like, oh, there it is.
He hit 6 warrior.
Sell the cyborg assassin, sell the other cyborgs. Go to 50 gold now to try to 2-star everything possible.
Yeah, they're not the warriors
actually, no, he should level up to... Yeah, he needs to level up to 8 and then roll. Like, right now. Like, during the round, it doesn't matter. He wants to be at 8 before the next round starts.
Yeah, because...
So he should be leveling now and then rolling.
He needs to be leveled up so that he can have a better chance at getting those rarer units, like the General of War, that is just the warrior you want in this composition, so that he can not be reliant on a 1-star werewolf, on a 2-star vanguard to make this team comp work. There's the level up. Here needs to come the roll instead. He plays in a Kraken and does not spend the cash. He's staying at 49. If he wins the round, he will get 50, and then he will look like a genius.
However, is no winning this round.
There we go. There's the spend.
That's
weird. That's weird and non-committal.
He didn't put in.
He didn't spend until it was too late. Then he has a second thought. Now he's got no cash left in the bank for the interest if he wins the round. And
even at 1-star, Voodoo Elder should have been put in, and then he managed to 2-star on the bench. Oh, he's maybe against the best matchup he can get with Beast having solo attack against 100 armor warriors. It's almost a non-matchup.
So hey, I think he looks like a genius. 42 gems, a little bit more at the bank than everyone other than iKillshot. And now he can start to spend all the money that he earns.
Get the Voodoo Elder in instead of the Kraken.
Why do you want the Voodoo Elder in instead of the Kraken? Is that just for the Goblin buff?
It's Warlock.
Oh, the Warlock buff. Got it. Because I was going to say he's being past the Goblin buff, of course, by that Hog Rider. But if you play the Voodoo Elder, you'd get the Warlock buff from the Misfortune.
Oh, I guess he's getting the Goblin buff already. That's a point I was missing. But Warlock is infinitely better than a 1-star Kraken. 1-star Kraken's not even a playable unit, in my opinion. The unit might as well not exist. They should come out of the shop at 2-star. Like, that's how bad 1-star Kraken is.
I'm a giant fan of CC, but a 1-star Kraken doesn't get the CC done. However, the team is getting it done. That famine, apparently, chunking things. Or is that still busted?
Famine is another one of the units that can almost be out of the game.
Now, I'm confused because I glanced at the sidebar and it was like, this Famine's doing really well. And I was like, oh, of course, because they fixed that. He must have a good Famine. But the Famine I found is 3-star and on iKillshot's board. So, probably not the Famine that was winning the round for iGaming. Glad that's still broken. Chased it down.
He's only using it to get undead, which is fine.
Okay.
But, I mean, I'd put a 1-star Mythic in over... Like, as soon as he gets one Misfortune at 1-star, I'd be putting it in over Famine almost.
Okay, so he makes some moves there. He puts in the Voodoo Elder, gets the Warlock buff, gets the Goblin buff, and in exchange, they shift out what's being passed to him. Now he has the 2-star Lightbringer and 2-star Flame Cooler being shoved over from his allies' board, and that is really cool. It's much more efficient than what he had before.
He should be being passed General of War.
And if he was being passed to General of War, he could take off that Werewolf, put in the 2-star Kraken over the Werewolf. I'd be a fan of that.
He's trying to put the Kraken in right now, and it's gonna mess his whole board up because he's pulling. No.
Oh. Minus Warlock for 2-star Kraken.
Yeah, like the Lightbringer and Flamecaller don't have sorcerer buff, so like you could pull the Flamecaller off and put General War in, so that he could pull the Werewolf instead, like you said. This is just like typical people who don't play co-op very often. Like I would guess money that these guys may have never played co-op before in their life. Because
the call he just made isn't ostensibly wrong. It's just not as efficient as it could be if you're playing co-op. Because when you have co-op, you don't need to make hard decisions like that. You can work with your ally. His buddy here does have a General of War in the back line. Pass that over, and you can get rid of the extra unit. We're so busy talking about all of this, we actually did completely miss the fact that Wrecking Crew dropped out in that last round. That will give them 10 points for their performance, but they are the first team eliminated from Group A.
You put Furry buff in, but I mean, I still think this is objectively wrong, not having Warlock on your Berserker. Especially a Berserker that's got 2 crit swords already.
Yes, it is objectively inefficient, which by some definition makes it wrong. I hate to say they're making stupid decisions though, because if they're playing solo, these aren't bad calls. It's just that they have more resources at their disposal than they're used to. And that, of course, is the benefit of playing co-op, and why, if you're in a co-op tournament, you should be on voice comms, you should be practicing co-op, all that stuff.
It's nice to see Promise and Dark Magician losing some HP.
Yeah.
They were stomping for a while, and I thought maybe I made a bad call on the grouping, but...
No, they've been having a really, really good time here at the top of the board. That's still the 6 assassin with a couple of tanks lineup that we talked about earlier. And it's still very devastating. Actually, he's facing iGaming right now, and that could be his tournament life.
Yeah.
Couple of 3 stars, and it is. Only one player left from passing.
Oh, that's not bad. He died passing Goblin with a 2-star Berserker, which is always good. And he gave him the chance to get undead easier, so...
2 2-star warriors is nothing to sneer at.
Yeah, when he levels up and puts Calamity in, that's undead. Scourge will eventually be 6 Fridays, so he gets undead without having to play Misfortune.
And he's getting the 3 warrior buff without the effort, so... It's all good. This man does have full human, which is a lot of fun for me. As I mentioned earlier, that's my preferred comp. It may not be the most optimal comp, but I'm always a giant fan.
Okay. Well, Lightbringer made it a little more even, but no. That's... Oh. What's going on?
Never doubt the chaos of the human comps. Because, and that's why I like it, because I love to be able to rest on the crutch of RNG. And you can lose these rounds, and then your Lightbringer just casts 3 times in a row, because of course the human buff removes the cooldown on the human sorcerer casts, and it's an easy win.
That was really wrong. He leveled up now. If he was going to level up, he should have leveled up last round, and he would have won that round. But at this point, he needs to go to 10 to get the 6 riders in, which means you can't afford to throw your eco away.
Yeah, the level up got him another 1-star rider in, which I'm not going to lie, isn't worth it. I'd actually prefer that he put the a second General of War or a second Frost Lotus in, because either of them having reset casts on their abilities would be more useful. As is, that's big AoE against him, which is going to cause problems, provided he doesn't get lucky with the rolls. And this may be Dark Magician taking him out. I'll hold the thought till we see the Kraken damage, and the Lightbringer's there, so we're fine. We lose Ninja, which means I kill shots on the chopping block. We tapped over to him earlier to see his 3-star Famine doing obscene amounts of damage. He also had a double Nether Prince that was a lot of fun to watch. Randomly, basically turning the board into a tower defense game with 2 2-star Nether Princes. The crux of this comp is Punisher with the Warlock buff. He's 1 away from a full Warlock buff, which is always fun. He's also only 1 away from a full Goblin buff, which is always fun. And by fun, I mean immensely frustrating, because if he completed either of those, his team would be much better off, as is Dark Magician's bullying him again.
I don't know how he managed to win this round. He screwed up pretty bad.
Whew! 2 HP on I kill shot.
He pulled the 6th human out. And his items are in weird places too.
The unit player?
Yeah. He pulled out the... Oh, for 6 rider, I guess that's not too much of a mistake.
Aversito is his name. I'm butchering that, but forgive my Portuguese pronunciation.
Yeah, he's got crit swords on Templar Knight instead of a unicorn. And he's got daggers on Lightbringer instead of unicorn. Like, he could have 4 crits, 2 daggers on unicorn, and he's not doing it, which is a big mistake. Especially the fact that he's playing Lightbringer. Having unicorn dealing all that extra AoE after Lightbringer shoots her shot is a good idea.
we haven't seen our second team eliminated just yet. Of course, that will be just 20 points to them when they go out in second. Then we give away 30 for third and 40 for first place, plus 1 bonus point for every 10 HP you have. So, right now, the 2 kill leaders, I Promise and Dark Magician, are working on preserving as much of their HP as possible. Poor Eye Killshot, even should he win this game, will not receive any bonus points. Let's take a look at his board, because even should he win this game, it's a bit of a tenuous proposition. He did just double down on Goblin. He's now achieved 4 Goblin, so that'll help.
Oh, he's got 4 crit swords on the Templar Knight still. It's just...
Aversito does?
Yeah.
Oh, this is bad for Poor Eye Killshot. Stuns come through. This is via Dark Magician, whose solid comp will now fight front to back and clean a troubled few out in second place. That's going to be just 20 points for them. You were talking a ton about Aversito. You still don't like his use of the items. What's he got on the bench? He actually has a 2-star General of War if he spends a Guru for it on the bench. So if he gets...
No, the 6 items is better in his comp, but... like, definitely he wants to go back to 6 demons when he can level up, but the game's not going to last long enough. But it's almost like he's a Season 1 player and doesn't know you can remove your items.
So you'd like to see...
No, because he did move items off of Lightbringer.
You'd like to see some item optimization. You're a giant fan of the crit swords being moved to the Unicorn Cavalier.
Yes, because if the first hit crits, everything crits, and it's AoE in a build with Lightbringer, as opposed to a Templar Knight who's going to maybe get off 5 autos in a game. Or he's also got Berserker on it. Oh no, the Berserker's being passed down, but...
So I have to say, and I always hate to pin it down to something as simple as, hey, your crit blades aren't on your Unicorn Cavalier, but that Unicorn Cavalier is surviving all of these rounds. That Unicorn Cavalier is going the distance, so if they had 5% more damage, it would make a difference.
Crit blade is almost 10 to 20% more effective on Unicorn.
Can I pitch you something? Take out the Frost Lotus, replace it with a 2-star General of War.
No, you lose 3 Sorcerer and make your Lightbringer non-existent.
The Lightbringer requires that Sorcerer buff in order to be effective?
Pretty much.
I'm just... And this is maybe a bias of the compositions I normally run, but I feel having those stuns is so important. Especially versus an assassin composition like they're running into. And
I agree, the stuns are definitely important, but it would be break 6 Rider, not break the 3 Sorcerer. Because Lightbringer is also just destroying the assassins.
Yeah, no, and I see that this round as the Lightbringer's AoE damage seems to have won them another, although I'll hold that thought because it's a Sword Dancer. And betting against the Sword Dancer in rounds is always gross. Should have it with this... No!
Yeah.
The shield!
No.
Oh! No. I thought the shield was going to wear off in time, but it just stayed up.
It's also a Goblin buffed Unicorn, too.
Oh, is it? That's gross.
There's no reason. Because, like, the Templar Knight's also on his front line, so it's going up and dying first, and his Unicorn's lasting till the end. If he moved them, he would win. I think he could beat... I think he could win the... Yeah, I think he could win the whole thing. If you just move the crit blades. That's how unoptimized he is.
That's really gross. Oh, he does do what I was calling for. So we'll see. He takes out the 1-star Calamity, breaks the Rider comp in order to get full human.
It breaks Undead too, but I mean, like, watch how fast the Templar Knight's gonna die. As opposed to Unicorn.
I think this was a really good
in this one, yeah.
Templar Knight
this one, the Templar Knight lived, but...
you can see the extra casts coming through from the human buff that was just picked up. Now the question is, can they deal with the Sword Dancer? And the answer is yes. Aversito survives another round.
Like, you might be thinking that the crit swords generate a more mana on the Templar Knight, and because it's a human, that's good, but it's negligible mana increase. Because he doesn't have any spellbinds on there, they're tomes. If those were spellbands, I'd say the crit swords are fine there. But with tomes, he's gonna get his mana off of being hit, not dealing damage. So, like, if the unicorn gets off like 2 crits while it's alive, that's enough to make Lightbringer kill things that it doesn't already kill in 1 hit.
What if he gets to level 10? He's saving a lot of money.
Oh yeah, level 10 is back to 6 Friday for sure, and undead. And again, the crit swords
Does he win
way
if he
better
gets to
on the
level
unicorn.
10? Even without moving
If he
the
puts
crit
the crit
rates?
swords, without probably, just because like he's against assassin players and riders just beat assassins.
And he has more economy than either of them. I have to say, both these Brazilian players have nerves of steel. Riding that economy down to the line.
Yeah,
There's the
spend.
right
now.
There's the level 10. Welcome to the board, Calamity.
6
rider, 3 warrior, 6 human, 2 undead, 2 goblin, full back line. I love it. Okay, you said United Esports would probably win if Versatile got to level 10. He's done it.
Yeah, I don't see how he loses now. The other 2 aren't going to get to 10. Promise might be able to, but if he does, he puts in... What is his build? It's all over the place. I just looked at it. He's got 4 beasts, 2 undead, 2 human, 2 siren. Oh, it's just a regular 6 assassin. It's not Punisher.
Yeah, it's 6 assassin plus some generic tank for the front line. Which, as you've seen, is not terribly effective against a sorcerer comp. He's got, the beast warriors for the front line here. I'll throw over the Dark Magician's composition because I think it's a little bit more interesting. It's 6 warrior plus some chaos, and if I have to choose between 6 assassin plus some chaos or 6 warrior plus some chaos, I choose the warrior. The assassin comp is the one that gets to level 10 though, and he's just played a misfortune.
Yeah, which didn't do anything for his build. It gave him 3 undead, which isn't 4, and it's not warlock.
So, I promise.
Oh, now he's got 4 undead. Dark Magician gave him the 4th one.
That's
a bit of a thing, but not much. Still 6 already.
We'll see if it makes the difference. This is it. With only 9 HP left, he needs to win this round in order to stymie the inevitable. And it does seem like he's finding more success, but not enough. You can see that Goblin Berserker doing so much work in the front lines. Now it's all down to his Sword Dancer versus the Flamecaller. He has this! Assassin on Mage. The Assassin will win almost every time. And I promise his warrior-based upgrade does manage to make things work. The Undead upgrade.
Yeah, I went back to look at Unit's board, and Unit 1 on his board. This human RNG. But
that's what
I was going to say
if you don't want RNG, you don't run a Sorcerer comp.
Because the Dragoon's got 40 more armor, and we were trying to do math, and it's, for some reason, not accurate that the 4 daggers on Dragoon does more damage for some reason. But that's probably because the Unicorn still got the bounce bug that they said was supposed to be a bug, but with how long they've left it in the game, maybe they want that to be a normal interaction. They're just trying to appease the vocal crowd saying that that's really bad. But
I mean, bugs are hard, man. I have a lot of sympathy. I'm gonna keep the camera on, I promise, because with 1 loss he's out of this game. And of course, as you mentioned, on a Versato's board he did lose last round. This time on his board, it seems like that loss is coming through. 3 HP left on Dark Magician. I promise is out of the game. Dark Magician has no bank. Your prediction is right. How on earth can Dark Promise save this game?
I don't think they can. I mean, especially if he moves the crits, because the crits are being wasted. Like, he moved them. I don't know where he put them. Oh, he put them on Dragoon. So that's a huge upgrade, because Dragoon does percentage blast damage.
Dragoon does more damage than the Templar, so 100%. I like the theory.
It could be on Unicorn, just because Unicorn might last longer, and like to put the Unicorn where the Flame Color is. But
I generally like the ranged component of the Unicorn in the comp he has.
The Dragoons. might as well be considered ranged in a 6-human. Like, it's going to transform on its own with no mana items in roughly 4 or 5 seconds. But
the Dragoon's really solid.
Yeah.
So, Dark Magician can't make any significant upgrades. Now he's got to play for his life with the minor upgrades he was able to make. The Shakaraka stuns things up. But I don't know that
Dragoon had the mana in 4, but it took him 10 seconds to transform.
Yeah, the backline's
so
the problem
got stun locked.
There's no access to the mages, and Dark Magician's gone, but the same round, slightly slower, a Versatile loses on his board. That doesn't matter for placement, because he did lose slightly slower, which means I Promise and Dark Promise came in second, but it does mean there are no bonus points to United Esports, who take first.
He went into the round at 9, so he wouldn't have got any bonus points either, but...
I'm trying to sell the storyline. Leave me alone. It's the game mechanics we're selling here. All right. So there is your final scoreline. 40 points for United Esports, 30 for Dark Promise, 20 for A Troubled Few, and 10 for Wrecking Crew. I think that's the first time in a long while we've had no bonus points for the first place team, and that was desperately close the whole way through, all of which means I'm very excited for the Game 2. What are you watching out for? What needs to change going into Game 2? Because, to me, the fact that United Esports won that game with how inefficient they were playing the co-op play during the early game is very scary for me.
Yeah, that's quite a bit of a problem. I think it was on the back of how strong 6-sided is, but he was also playing 6 humans, which is RNG. So, like, he wasn't playing the game. He was playing slots, basically.
Okay, first of all, as a human player, take that back.
Because, like, none of that was about anything he did, right? It's about how much the game's rolled lucky 7s on slots.
Well, I do think there was some clever building that got him to that 6-human comp. But I agree that once you get there, you are rolling a lot of dice, and it's just about maximizing how many dice you're rolling at the other person, not necessarily choosing the individual dice rolls. However it is, we're going to have to go to a quick break. We'll take 5 minutes for me to refresh my water bottle. We'll return with game number 2 of Group A, the end of Group A, then the B group immediately after. Don't go far. 3 more games of exciting chess rush action still to come.
Why won't you tell me something new? You waited for someone to save you and left me all alone. I wanna tell you something new. You drove us both into a wall, but we only heard one. It's the longest night of my life, and the longest goodbye I can say. I wish you all the best I can. Then I stop myself for a while. I'm saying things I don't believe. The panics rising up in me. You want to tell me something new. You wait for someone to save you and left me all alone. I wanna tell you something new. You throw us both into a wall, but the only word was
You're like a circle that floats around me, keeping me safe and sound. And when I fall, you tied a rope to me. You're blessing me every day. I was down with an illusion, like a sparrow with broken wings. But now I shine with your reflection on me. I'm getting back up on my feet. That you showed up was written in my palm. You are a statement, explode like a bomb. I get to push myself to victory. You make me winner. You cut me loose and set me free. You make me win in every way. You showed me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day. You cut me loose and set me free. You make me win in every way. You showed me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day. Yes, I'm the winner, yeah. 'Cause I'm the winner, yeah. Am I awake or am I dreaming? So far gone, I won't look back. And when I move, there ain't no stopping me. You're pushing me up to the top. I saw the clouds looking angry, but then the sky reached my mind. And when I space out, I see the possibilities unfolding the way that I want. That you showed up was written in my palm. You are a statement, explode like a bomb. I get to push myself to victory. You make me winner. You cut me loose and set me free. You cut me loose. You make me win in every way. Win in every way. You showed me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day. You cut me loose and set me free. You make me win in every way. You showed me how to spread my wings. Yes, I'm the winner of the day.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Chess Rush Co-op Clash presented by Premier Gaming. My name's still TJ, and we still do have some Chess Rush action to come. We did lose 2 players. Wrecking Crew, I think the assumption is they didn't realize that there were 2 games in the tournament. So they dropped out and have been replaced by by Chaos Seraph, who was hanging out with us on the call last game, and Jory, who runs the admin for the tournament, just sliding into Phil. Which of course means that the team name Wrecking Crew is no longer accurate. So, if you're in the chat and you have a real solid team name, just a pun or a funny, cool name, throw it into the chat, YouTube or Twitch, and I'll keep an eye. I'm opening it up right now, and I'll keep an eye on the best team name idea I will add to the scoreboard in place of Wrecking Crew. So keep me posted on that. I do see, now that I've opened up the chat, some questions about the prize pool. Of course, the way it works is we have $30 to give away to the team that has the most points at the end of both groups. So, right now, it's safe to say Group B is looking pretty for that, as Group A, the top team from game number 1, didn't earn any bonus points. So, if you're able to work out a pretty strong lead in Group 2, then you have a solid advantage over United Esports, who won with literally 0 HP during game number 1. Of course, because Chaos Seraph drifted back in to fill for this game, I'm all alone here on the call. So you'll have to give me a little bit of space for pauses like that, where I have to drink some water, because I've actually been doing an incredible amount of casting lately for my... I mean, this is the hobby, this is the fun project. I love Chess Rush, but I've already done a lot of casting today. You may be able to hear it in my voice. I think 4 hours in total. So I'm coasting right now. We're gonna stay safe and not stress my voice. Chat says, did they win that last game or did they just lose the latest? And I would argue that those are both the same state. Let's take a look at the comps for game number 2. I'd like to give a shout out to Ninja and Killshot for rushing an extra level. They're already at level 5. That's enabled them to not especially build a comp, but get a head start on having one of everything, which I guess is kind of cool. Killshot's trying to strive towards a Demon Punisher comp, and there's a little bit of a warrior preference being built by Dark Magician. So Killshot with the Punisher and Ninja, who dodged out my view, is the source of one of those Punishers, but has Hunter as their big deal? Okay. Surprise me. Chat says the team name should be Fill-In Crew, which is alarming to me, because Fill-In Crew is literally what the last team that was there was. Wow. We need something more intimidating sounding, I think, for Jury and Chaos Seraph. I would say Chaotic Jury, but by definition, he's pretty chaotic. Normally he runs, like, full Hunter. He's not doing it this game. Actually, other people are running, like, full Hunter this game. That's Ninja's job. Whenever I play with Jury, he just runs 6 Hunter, and it inextricably, consistently works for him. Need someone named Phil in that team. That's, you know what, that's good. I'm going to call them the Philip Crew, because they're filling in as the crew. Do they keep the 10 points from the other players? I'm going to say yes to make it interesting. Ooh, is there 1 L or 2 L's in Philip? I'm dyslexic. I'm going to go with 1 L, because that looks a little bit more right. But I still think it's wrong. But I'm dyslexic, so all the words look wrong. Okay, let's talk comps. That's enough team name-ing. Chaos Seraph is facing off against Dark Magician, who's already back at the top of the board with I Promise. They coasted through the early game during game number 1 with a pretty firm lead and then fell apart at the final hurdle. The way they've done that is with Warrior and with Assassin, and those seem to be the 2 archetypes again. I Promise already chasing that Assassin, trying to pick up some Demon Punishers to back it up, but as with last game, I suspect there won't be enough to pass around.
Deep seas prima donnas here.
Dark Magician at the top of the board seems to have picked up an undead interest alongside a warrior frontline, which seems much more feasible. You don't need to compete for units in order to get a undead warrior comp to work well. And just as kind of a baseline, I'm a giant fan of warrior comps. You can go so many places with them. They're the Great American Highway of compositions. There's a McDonald's every 40 miles, and my god, the places you'll go. You gotta be worried about the big stretches in between the McDonald's, though. We'll call that the mid-game, where the warrior comps occasionally flounder as they're not able to evolve into anything specific for the late game if they don't get specific stuns or backups or warlocks, that kind of thing. Jury, whose team with Chaos Seraph, the Philip crew, have worked their way into second place currently, seems to be leaning towards Elf of all things. This is something I talked about during our pre-game to game number 1. I said that I personally had been seeing a ton of people try and go Demon Punisher and then just getting stuck and ending up going Elf because they have the Nightingale. I think that's almost exactly what happened to Jury. There's no shame in it. Elf is fine. But it doesn't win a whole lot of games. So if he wants to pick up an Elf core to get him through the early or mid game, that's good, decent, and perfectly socially acceptable. But at some point, he's got to grow up and realize that playing it being an Elf is only good for that early and mid game. Chaos Seraph, who spent the entirety of the last game preaching holier than thou strategy on this very stream, who seemed to exude confidence as one of the best chess rush players the world has ever seen, has just lost again. Not that I'm throwing any shade. What's he going for? Cyborg Assassin. This actually really does check out with what he was talking about on stream with me. A couple of tanks, the assassins to back it up. The assassins do the damage. Cyborgs are really good as the frontline tank for an assassin comp because you can rely on their regeneration, particularly if they're engineers, which this lot are. Then you get that regeneration buff, and they stay alive forever. Maybe even get a few kills of their own. I lied, that totally was shade, but I'm not sure why, because Chaos Seraph is a real good player. It was random shade. It's just very hot where I am in California, so I wanted to make sure that he wasn't getting burned. He had some AC on, that kind of thing. In this case, the agent of cooling will be Dark Magician, who bodies him again, dropping Chaos Seraph down to just 73 points of HP. Dark Magician has continued to build up that warrior comp. He's currently at 5 warriors, with a couple of beasts and stuff like that. We'll keep working our way down the list, because right here at the midpoint, we hit the United esports side. They, of course, won game number 1, but did so with a sliver of HP, and it was just to vest us. iGaming died quite early on. Our first boy, Evaristo, I think is how you say his name. Again, I apologize for butchering the Portuguese pronunciation. Is going kind of warrior human again, which worked for him last time, so why not? Looks to be a human comp. The sorcerers behind it, a couple of riders up front. For now, you have some warriors, but that's just how you get there. You bridge through the humans during the early game because, as I said earlier, you can kind of go anywhere from warriors. And they'll give you enough of a buff to get through the early game before the sorcerers are good. Then you hit the late game, the sorcerers are like, whoa, we can survive long enough to cast our spells now. We're sorcerers. And that sure gets them the win. Is his buddy still doing weird things? He is! Never change iGaming. This is 3 hunters in the back lines, 3 warriors up front. So I actually really like this, of the weird things that we've seen. Because I have a long-standing theory that all hunter comps are garbage. And this is a firm test of that premise. The problem, I think, with Hunter comps, even though you can have absolutely absurd single-target damage, is that every other composition inherently soft counters them. If you're running an Assassin comp, the Assassins are shrouded until they're in range of the Hunters, and there's no AoE damage in order to hurt the Assassins who just happen to be in the area, like, say, a Lightbringer or a Flamecaller will do. If you're running into a Warrior comp, they can take the hits and eventually overwhelm the defenses and hit the Warriors, having shredded the weaker frontline. If you're running a Rider comp, same deal. If you're running an Elf comp, they dodge the single target focus. If you're running a Sorcerer comp, then the Sorcerer magic damage overpowers the backline very often because there's just so much more AoE. I think that Hunter comps don't work into any other comp. It's a weird thing because they're not inherently bad, but every other composition, I think, plays really poorly against them, or for them, rather. Some of the more hyper-sorcerer-leaning builds, I see chat object. That is Forkatosh Gamer, who I think, are you playing in Group B today? He objects that the Sorcerer comps can get melted by Hunter. Yes! In the late game, a good Hunter comp, particularly with Stalker Drone, a Terminator, can make some happen really scary to the Sorcerer comps. But the amount of times that you get to that late game with a Hunter composition are just so low. Whereas a Sorcerer composition reliably comes online in the mid game, and normally when you say the word Sorcerer composition, you're talking about a human comp, which very reliably has frontline to work with, because you have the Riders, you have the General of War, whereas it's kind of hard to make things, in my experience, work with the Hunter compositions. As I've been waffling on, though, iGaming has transitioned away from them. He was using the Hunters to gather himself some steam during the first few moments of the game, and then he shifted away to 6 Warrior, a much more standard composition, a much more firm frontline, and he shouldn't run into any problems with that until we get to late game. Let's talk about the bottom 2 teams, because we haven't, or the bottom 2 players, because we haven't focused any on Troubled Few this tournament. They, of course, almost won last week. They came in second, I believe, but only by a matter of, like, 10 points. Ninja and iKillshot have had a somewhat rough time in this Group A, though. Consistently getting real bad draws, and it's just been a very sad time to be Ninja and iKillshot. But this time round, Ninja at least ostensibly has a solid composition building off the Demon Punishers. The backline's where you kind of get into trouble, but there's 3 Warlocks. All of the rarer Warlocks actually already locked in, with the Misfortune there and the Nether Prince. Marsh Lord, what are they missing? Oh, the Voodoo Elder, the Goblin. That's not hard at all. You could see that for Warlock buff with the Demon Punisher, which isn't quite Assassin Punisher, but it certainly works well. So, I'm excited to see if that keeps Ninja alive. The 45, I think I'm right, aren't I? No, it's 25. The 25% lifesteal is nothing to sneer at if you're doing AoE damage. iKillshot's down to just 16 HP on their board, so we'll spectate Ninja till the wrap-up of the round, and then throw down and see what they've got going on. Come on, clean up the Sword Dancer. What's going on with iKillshot? The poor boy? This is a rather poor composition. So, Demon Punisher for the front lines, the 2-star Devourer is solid, but everything else is 1-star. And this is a problem that a Troubled Few rather consistently have reported having, is just the draws aren't going their way. And you end up with like a smattering of 1-stars in the mid-game. This is round 14, for Christ's sake. You need to be doing a little bit better than this. And it's just, I think, I'm going to go ahead and hypothesize here, I think the primary reason a Troubled Few consistently have this problem is because they don't decide what composition they're going for early enough. You need to be comfortable re-rolling to chase the composition pretty early in order to be able to get those 2-stars, in order to be able to build with it. And there's so much shuffling that happens and so many strange comp choices that happen that a Troubled Few end up with a couple 1-stars, you know, at round 14, at round 15, and that's just untenable. So, I'm going to draw the line. Because it's a little bit too consistent to just be bad luck. Of course, the last time I called out Ninja, and I said, alright, Ninja, we need to talk about these composition decisions. Ninja then won the game. So, I'll send her the same vaguely condescending energy and hope for the best. She actually does have a real solid comp now. This is transitioned into 4 Warriors, full Demon Punisher, 2 Warlock backline, 2 Undead. This is like gold standard for Warrior comps that she's ended up with. So, maybe the condescending energy is the secret. I just need to keep channeling it in her direction. Let's throw up to the top of the board. Dark Magician and I Promise, who did, of course, win game number 1 of this set, are still on top of the board, and I dare say by a spectacularly wide margin. This could be bad for anyone hovering in that Group B, waiting for an opportunity to take the $30 prize for the widest margin of victory, because Dark Magician and I Promise are both looking at grabbing currently 9 points apiece. This is full Warrior for Dark Magician, with the Assassins to complement. I Promise is sitting on 4 Warrior for Assassin, a much more tangible composition, but they also can lend those Assassins over to Dark Magician. So even if I Promise suffers a tiny bit because they don't have the same Warrior frontline, the fact that they have those extra Assassins means that Dark Magician by proxy is in a more secure position. Also, let's talk about Sword Dancer. You don't have to if you have trauma related to Sword Dancer, so I'll just throw that warning right up here. People with trauma related to Sword Dancer may want to cover their ears for the next few seconds. I think Sword Dancer's, like, busted. Like, real good. Finally, I Promise will get knocked down, though, and this is what I was talking about with their composition. Despite having the Sword Dancer, despite having the 4 cool Assassins in the backline, the front line kind of sucks. It's a 1-star werewolf. It's one of the Assassins is the Stinger they just played. They have a 3-star Nightingale, which is very cool, thanks for sharing, but not especially great in and of itself, in comparison to, say, a 3 Warrior comp that could be their frontline here. So I would say this needs to be a little bit more specialized. Let's throw over to the United Esports side, because they're still, I want to say, having a fun time, but Ivarsario is not. He's down to just 11 HP. Facing I Killshot here. He has made his full Sorcerer conversion, though. That is 6 human, 6 rider. So this is peak. This is peak human Sorcerer right now. Normally I try and skew a little bit more towards the Sorcerers because I like watching the pretty lights flare, but to be honest, I think going Rider is a little bit more powerful in a situation like this.
Who's that summoning me?
iGaming is still on 6 Warrior, but he's doing the right thing. If you're running a 6 Warrior comp, you just make the Warriors better. You just more Warriors, and you have a good time. Killshot's down to just 4 HP. I was very excited about Ninja's comp. Is that still doing good? Yeah, it is. This is still a solid Ninja comp. Killshot doesn't have that level of coordinated compositions, though. They're kind of got Demon Punisher, but not a whole lot behind it. And this 3 Warlock shenanigans is not earning them enough leeway, in my opinion. You can see the AoE spells just stun up the core of their team, and it's a cleanup from there. Killshot's down to I Promise, the 2 Apple products fighting. Like a MacBook Air and an iPad Pro. Because they appeal to the same demographic. It's a tech joke. Lots of people actually knocked low that round. Jury and Chaos Seraph both nearing the single digits. Chaos Seraph down to just 6 HP. And they've doubled down. This is 6 Warrior, 5 Engineers. 6 Assassin, 5 Engineers. The full Assassin is entertaining as a premise. 2 of them are getting passed over, though. And they're 1-stars, which isn't massive. This is decent as a front line for the Cyborgs, but I'm not a giant fan of mid-game Cyborgs without designs towards the 6 cyborg buff. Because Cyborgs in an Assassin comp are always just going to be warrior bait. They're always just going to be there to get assassinated. And that does not bode well for your Assassins, who then have a very limited time frame to work with. Chaos Seraph is out as a result. Ninja's able to remove them from the board. I take a look at Jory's board as well. He's down to 13 HP as he's lost another round. We did lose iGaming at the bottom of the board. We'll throw over to his teammate, who survives a moment longer with his full Sorcerer comp. So, one team on top, 80 points, 90 points on their HP. Everyone else in the low double digits, with one player remaining. I dare say it looks quite good for Dark Promise, but of course I did say that last game, and then they were slowly and steadily overrun. Okay. Ivar Sartio needs to just keep scaling his sorcerers in the backline. In contrast to actually game number 1, he has really good scale. I actually really like this. 3-star Frost Lotus, 2-star Flame Cooler. The Lightbringer's a little under-leveled, but it's fine. His front line's all 2 stars. It took him far less long. Huh. That's a sentence. It took him far less long to get scaled into the human comp, and that's given him more time to get the unit upgrades. Of course, it did take him more HP, far more HP. Far less, more. Anyway. So he's still one bad RNG round away from losing, but as long as his RNG holds, it doesn't matter. And Jory goes down before him, meaning that Philip Crew is our first team eliminated, and they leave this group with only 20 points between them. So we have our top 3 teams locked in. Ninja for A Troubled Few. Iversatio for United Esports. Dark Magician and I Promise for Dark Promise. I wanted to fit in esports in there somewhere, but that's just my reflexes from casting too many Tier 2 esports. It's like a rule. If you're an esports team that has a mediocre amateur Counter-Strike or League of Legends team, then your name has to include the word gaming or esports. You can just take an adjective, take a word actually, doesn't even need to be an adjective. Vicious Gaming. Savage Esports. That's your team. Then get some, like, artist to do a drawing of an animal. It's like a lion in the cartoon style. Anyway, don't take your tips from me. Ninja, the last player alive, and 3 HP are left. Iversatio goes down, and you can see why. Ninja's got maybe 1 round left. What are the upgrades that could happen? You could see a 3-star Ice Tusk. That's pretty rough. Oh. I don't know if that saves them. So, just in general, I think this is rough. Sell 1, spend the Guru for the Executioner 2-star. Not the worst set of decisions, not what you wanted on the roll either, though. United Esports, I should credit with their 20 points for a 2nd place exit. We're giving them a grand total of 60 points. This should be a troubled few with a 2nd place finish here. And it is. Ninja's down, so that's an additional 30 points. This is, oh god, 70, 80, and then 90 points for the other teams. So I'm going to pull out the calculator to make sure I do absolutely nothing wrong, because the last time I tried to do math on stream, I somehow pulled an extra 24 out of nowhere. So, let's go. And then they currently have 30 points, which leaves us with a grand total of 47. I needn't be scared. Plus the obvious points for winning this game, which leaves them at a grand total of 80 points. So Dark Promise are your winners for this Group A action. A Troubled Few took 30 points for that, leaving them at a grand total of 50 points. I'll sort the scoreboard. Here you go. Oh, God. It was all going so well. There we go. Boom. In order. First place goes to Dark Promise with a grand total of 87 points. United Esports with 60. A Troubled Few with 50. Philip Crew with 20. So, a lot of fun actually today. A lot of very close matches. Dark Magician and I Promise tore away at the end of that Group B Game 2. But until then, everything was actually incredibly close. Of course, there is a little bit of a competition happening between the two groups. The prize money goes to the team that has the most points at the end of the day. So the high watermark has been set by Team Dark Promise. They got a grand total of 87 points. Now they'll need to follow through for a game, for a Group B. If somebody wants to beat that, they'll need to either perform decently over 2 games or incredibly well with a single game win. Don't go far, we'll take a 10-minute break, then we'll come back with Group B, of course, made up of graduates of the Group A. So it's considered the higher ELO group. In actuality, that, I think, makes it harder to achieve a dominant performance. So, they got their work cut out for them. Don't go far, we'll be right back. Give me 10 minutes and the Chat Rush games will continue.
You're pushing me up to the top. I saw the clouds looking angry, but then the sky reached my mind. And when I space out, I see the possibilities unfolding the way that I want. That you showed up was written in my palm. You are a statement, explode like a bomb. I get to push myself to victory. You make me
sleeping on mine, sleeping with eyes wide open, and you're in between the lines. I won't take what you've been smoking. Oh no, oh no. No one could love you like I do. We're breaking up, we're breaking up. What kind of vibe is mine to you? Easy of night, I am the few. We make a castle to a ruin. Castle, ruin. Castle.
I got you on my radar, it's a beauty. A little dot on the screen and it hits me. I will never let you out of sight. That's my mission. That's my mission tonight. I got something you really can't handle. A little charge in your heart, ready to dismantle. I will never let you out of sight. That's my mission. That's my mission tonight. Do you know what it means that we're the same kind? The desire you feel isn't the same as mine. I could let you go, but why should I? You're my mission. You're my mission tonight. You're nothing but mine. And the sooner you realize that for all the time, I'm the one you can't sacrifice. I'm the first and the last you ever get. So get off that high horse and beat it. Yes, sir. It's not the way to go. I hope you feel it. But in a way, you're the only one I need.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm mad. Welcome back to the Call of Clash presented by Premier Gaming. That's not why I'm mad. I should be excited because it's Group B. And that means we got all the best players in Chess Rush, currently playing some co-op. Of course, my name is TJ, and I'm joined by... nobody. That's not why I'm mad either, though. I'm mad because, like, solo casting kind of sucks, but I'm doing this tournament for fun, so, you know, it's still fun. But the reason I'm mad is that my teacup appears to have a leak in it. And it's not like... normally, a cup breaks because it cracks. And you're like, ah, that cup's cracked. It's broken. I can't use it anymore. This cup looks perfectly fine, and yet whenever I set it down on a surface, gradually, steadily, over the course of about 2 minutes, a small pool of whatever liquid it happens to be inside of the cup spreads out from underneath it, which is not how a cup is supposed to work. The idea is you pour tea into it and the tea stays in the cup and does not in fact exit the cup. Anyway. Welcome back. Let's take a look at these comps. How are people heading into group number 2? Hey, I didn't update the thing at the top. Game number 1 of 2, Group B. Of course, the score to beat in Group B is 87 points, set by Dark Promise in Group A. So there is quite a precedent to reach. Yes, chat. Liquid should only exit the cup via the rather large hole in the top. And I don't think I'm using the cup incorrectly. I think the cup is using the liquid incorrectly. I don't know. There's some abuse happening, that much is clear. So right, I've got my trusty water bottle. 2 of them, in fact. And the only time they fail me is that I've rather dented the bottom of one of them, and it's already like a rounded bottom so that it goes into bags easier. And so sometimes I put it down and it just kind of rolls over, and then there's water all over my keyboard, which happens like at least once a week. The point is, I'm apparently very bad at drinking vessels. Also very bad at chess rush, but these players aren't. Let's take a look at the compositions, starting at the top of the board. Chaos Seraph, of course, with Team Chaotic Max. It's Chaos Seraph and Nate are at the top of the board, doing their best human impression. This is Warrior Furry for 3 warriors with some humans along the side. It's generally flexible. You can kind of go anywhere from a warrior start, which is always why I like to go that way. I've been very curious to see how many Head Reapers. That's of course the Goblin Assassin. We start saying, because those boys are all over the place these days. Warrior, who just took his slot at the top of the board, has himself some Warlocks. Undead to follow through. This is the smattering of buffs you normally rely on to back something else. You normally are like, I've got a cool warrior comp. And look behind it, if you pull back the curtain, you'll see the powerhouse of this cell is the Warlocks. I don't know why that was so cheery. But they don't have that. They don't have a solid front line. This is kind of the stuff you normally have behind the scenes as the front line, so I'll have to keep an eye on that. It's not bad. It's pretty good, actually, for an early game, but he may lose ground if he's unable to continue to evolve this. Dapley? Dapley. I'm go with that. Thought it was Dalipley, but I'm very dyslexic in my defense, so, you know. Dapley, who I'm going to go with as his name, has kind of the same situation. This is like the ideal version of what we were just talking about. He doesn't have a warrior comp, but he has a cyborg comp. And the cyborgs are being very cool and very muscly and cool, and they're the front line, and behind it he's got a little bit of that undead action going on. And that's enabling those cyborgs to just be a little bit more effective. A little bit of tuning to the powerful steam engine. And that makes this comp work really well. We already touched on Chaos Seraph, and not much has changed. He's doubled down on the warriors. Nate also seems to kind of be following in his footsteps, although he has the backup buffs to support it. Now, this is exactly the example I gave before. The Goblin for the attack speed, the Warlock for the lifesteal. They just exist behind the front line that is a warrior comp, and you don't really notice them until you realize that the warriors are doing a little bit too well. And you're like, what's gone wrong? Why are the warriors so cool today? And it's not because of their sick fashion, it's because of the friends they have around them. Slays is up next as we work our way down. They, of course, are on Team Guts Slayers, believe it or not. This is Warrior Shenanigans with the setup for a Warlock buff. And, of course, that Marsh Lord in the backlines. He's also being passed a couple of cyborgs from Guts, who's one of the lowest. He is the lowest HP member of this board right now, for reasons that are immediately identifiable, as he has a lot of 1 stars, and some of them are cyborgs. And it must be said, I'm not a giant fan of either of those decisions. At this point in the game, the people with the most 2 stars are going to be the most successful, and you need to go full cyborg, not some cyborg, in order to make those things happen. This round, he got a 2-star on that cyborg ninja, though, which means that he was getting a lot of extra damage, and he's got himself a 1 round. That works both ways, actually. It was a 1 round, W-O-N, because he won it, And it was 1 round, as in his first win. He's not passing. He's still passing. Does that benefit for anything? So he's still passing this Martial Lord and Werewolf 1 star. And that's not actually. I know he's getting past those. He's passing a 1 star Steel Fist and a 2 star Cyborg Ninja. The 2 star Cyborg Ninja is a solid call. The 1 star Steel Fist is not as good as the Ground Smasher, but who will notice? I'm gonna keep working my way down to the Frenchman. Currently at 59 HP. That's not a great place to be. On round 9. 4 warriors, but I see the problem. You can actually just squint, and you'll still be able to see the problem, because everything will go kind of fuzzy. But the fact that Coat 3 only has 1 stars is the problem. He's actually compositionally got a pretty sick lineup. 4 warriors can go to can get past these 2 riders, and those 2 rider passes, in addition to giving the 2 rider buff, are also giving him 2 goblin, 2 undead, and 2 beast. So like, sick on paper. In practice, though, given that they're all 1 stars, it's not quite enough. Slays is pretty close to him, though. So you can kind of see what's going on. Because Slays is running a very similar composition. He's just got a couple more 2 stars in his front line. And that makes this a mess. Although, as per usual, the second I say, oh, this isn't working, the numbers finally add up the right way round. And he's able to grab himself a 1 round. This is exciting for me. If COD 3 can double down on this composition, if he can get the upgrades, especially with that General of War just sitting on his bench, I really like this man's setup. Unfortunately, it will take him a while to get there. But he's got plenty of banks, so something could happen. It's time for some Korean esports, apparently. Warlow is flagged up with it. He's got 4 riders and 3 marksmen. I'm excited to see the undead buff at 3 already as well. There are a lot of fun things that can come from that kind of focus. But a lot of the key carries aren't quite effective enough yet. This Famine will be real good. This Kraken will be real good. They need levels. The Famine's level 2 star, which is pretty solid for this point in the game. That'll need to get to a 3 star. Chat asks, is Warlow a late sub? And I believe he is, because the listed player is DD Chris. And DD Chris is not, in fact, Warlow. So unless there was a last-second name change, I assume there was a little bit of a substitution that happened. So Warlow's running Hunter in the back line, Warrior in the front line. The key to making these Hunter-style comps work, in my opinion, is to have a ton of CC. They already have a nice Kraken. If they can get a General of War for their front line, then they're set for this early game. Unfortunately, the CC isn't as powerful as it once was, and their comp isn't online yet. So Warlow's down to just 40 points of HP. It's a common misconception, because I mentioned water bottles earlier. I actually, for water bottles, I have a plastic water bottle that I got while traveling abroad, and I'm 100% sure that it's like giving me cancer or something. So I'd love it, because chat's always really good about this, knowing when I'm being cancerous. Because I didn't want to throw it away and I needed a water bottle. If I keep drinking out of the same plastic water bottle for like 2 months, will it give me cancer? Quick check. Because I worry about things. Is that Warlord instead of Warlow? I assume so. Seems to say so. Thanks for the update, video game. You know, it would be great if it gave me some way of checking people's full names in the right side of the screen. Kyle Seraph loses a round to Warlord. He's down to just 67 points of HP. His composition is still really, 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 really good on paper. But he's starting to have the same problem that our Frenchman was having, which is that all of his front line and most of his back line is 2-star. He actually, his goblins are the best, because he's getting past a Hog Rider and a Voodoo Elder. They're both 2-star. His Ice Tusk is 2-star. But everything else there is 1-star. So, oof, Chaos Seraph. You're not getting a lot of repeats in those draw cycles, are you? Sometimes it's like that. Oh my lord. Gus is a 3-star Cyborg Ninja. And of course, if he is a 3-star Cyborg Ninja, that means his ally does as well. Which is doubly intimidating. That's a big chunk of HP. Just 52 points left. My, that's scary. Apparently, my plastic water bottle can start leaching plastic. But, for Katosh Gaming in the chat says, there's so much plastic in the world that I'm getting particles in my system anyway. Microplastics are everywhere. I like it. The nihilist approach to microplastics. I figure that if I drink enough plastic from my water bottle, then I eventually will become the kind of pollution that's causing global warming. And that means that the coal industry will lobby to protect me. I'll be frank, I need all the help I can get, living out here in America. Chaos Seraph still at the top of the board. He's got 52 points of HP in his bank. Now just 39, as he can't stymie this loss streak. In order to fix it, he kind of just needs to get 2 stars. Which is the worst, because there's nothing he can do. He has 11 gem. There's nothing he can do about it, except just keep rolling and hoping he gets the 2 stars. And what do you do about that? He's not re-rolling. He's not buying either. Oh, because this is an AI round. Obviously. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense to buy on an AI round, because the AI don't pose a significant threat. This is only game 1, which means we're not doing the math as to who wins the overall tournament yet. Of course, the way it works is... Let me check my notes. I actually scribbled it on the back of a... Here, you can hear it. That sounds real professional, doesn't it? This is the back of a grocery receipt. And I don't remember going grocery shopping, but apparently purchased sharp cheddar. The back of the receipt reads that there was 87 points earned by Dark Promise in Group A. Which is the score to beat. Now, they have 2 games to do it, so it's not a big deal if none of these teams earn 87 points in one game, but you do have to start thinking about it as we head into the rest of the games. Let's go down to the people struggling. Warlord at the bottom of the board. 28 HP. He's got 5 Rider, 3 Hunter. This is, we were talking about this. The Hunter comps are hard to make work. He's gotten the 2-star Kraken. But that's kind of all. 20 HP left. He needs to commit one direction or the other. Either it's 6 Rider with maybe... I think you ditch the Famine. Go 6 Rider. Ditch the Famine, play another different Rider. Because the Hunters aren't doing a whole bunch of damage in and of themselves, I suspect. Most of your Hunter damage is coming from the fact that you have that help, that you have that Kraken stun. He instead levels up. He'll play the Voodoo Elder. That gets him the Goblin buff for the attack speed increase, which is always good with Hunter comps. Unfortunately, it may not be enough. Oh, did I never reset the scoreboard? I did not. What a bad esports boy. I use a custom program for my scoreboard management that I wrote ages ago. Well, modify. And it's literally a single button press, but I need like an alarm that reminds me to do it, apparently. Warlord does not already have a ton of HP, or a ton of points. He only has 5 points left. And that's really rough. Because I don't know what the turnaround here is. So he has the Goblin buff. I said I would like to see him commit to getting the full Rider bonus. I don't, because he can only get like a 1-star Rider out of these draws. I don't know that that'll save him, and he doesn't have enough time. Just looking at all this, he's still refreshing. Alright. Oh, it's Chaos Seraph. This is doable. Chaos Seraph's been having a rough time. They've stabilized somewhat by leveling up their frontline attack. But this is still a winnable round for Warlock if the Kraken ult comes through, and it does, stunning up a vast majority of the back line. But you can tell they're going to be overpowered if they're not. Massively successful off the back of this Unicorn Cavalier, and the Unicorn Cavalier can only get 2. Which means our first casualty of game number 1, group number B, is Warlord. This is now, I think, the danger zone for the team. KOT3. COT3 is left being past 2-star Famine, 1-star Calamity. Wait! Hold up! Why were they passing a Misfortune and a Glutton at 1-star when they could have been passing, I don't know, just spitballing here, one of their 2 and 3 stars? Just spitballing. It's a little unfortunate. Because there was a Famine on Warlord's board. So they didn't need to be passing both undead units. They just needed to be passing 1 undead unit and maybe the 3-star Ice Tusk. That would have made a world of difference. 2-star General of War would have been huge. That's definitely a communication issue, to say the least. Guts is now at the bottom of the board. He's only got 10 HP left heading into this AI round, and it's a shame, because he's got one of the more successful Cyborg comps I've seen recently. That's 4 on the Cyborg, 3 on the Engineer. Couple of Assassins for the backline. I like this because you can go a lot of different ways with this in the late game. It's one of the more fun flex comps, because if he is able to get his legendary Cyborgs, which is remarkably difficult, by the way, the shift in the odds has made it nigh on impossible to get the full Cyborg comp. There you can see it. He needs a legendary. But if he can get the legendary Cyborgs, then he's set. If he can get the 6 Assassin, then he's set. And this comp can go either way. Minor problem. He's not going to reach the level he needs to get for the legendary. Because he's, in the big trouble. Level 8. No end in sight. Near a 3-star Steel Fist and a 3-star Grand Smasher, so it's the small victories, but I'm not seeing this working out, especially as the Kraken comes through this round. That's Coty, I've been told is pronounced. Just absolutely shredding his front line with that Kraken. The AoE stuns Kraken into General of War. Big hurt. 1 HP! Guts survives on.
Order received. Upgrade complete. Final form activated.
Okay. 5 gems once he got in the bank. Ooh, that's rough. Do you re-roll or do you save on 5? I suspect you save on 5 because the odds of you getting anything good on the re-roll are pretty low. Everything he needs to win, like he'd appreciate the 3-star. He did get the 3-star Steelfist. He'd appreciate the 3-star Ground Smasher. But that would actually also create problems because then he'd be down a unit. What he needs is a legendary cyborg, and he doesn't have that, and he doesn't have the opportunity to get that. So, very scary. Frontline takes a big beating again from the CC. His Sword Dancer is able to work into the backlines, though, and that splits the focus. And this may be a round win for Guts. Sword Dancer needs to come through, but when does it not? He stays alive. In the meantime, Dapley has been knocked down to 1 HP, so we'll tab on over. They've got a Assassin comp, backed by Warlock and Undead. I'm struggling to see where the problems have arisen, because this isn't ostensibly a bad composition. Although the fact that their Warlock buff is coming from Void Doom and Misfortune just kind of chucked into the side is a little unfortunate. This isn't a bad composition. Is that Void Doom even getting a cast off? No. Yes. 1 Void Doom cast comes off. Not much more. And that leaves all the heavy lifting on the Assassin's shoulders, and there isn't enough of a tank to draw the focus for the Assassins, which means it's very hard to win these rounds. Werewolf's got it. There's Dappling, knocked out. Guts joins him. He's out as well. That means we've done it again as Chaos Seraph exits early. We are now in a solo game. Each team has got just 1 player left. There are 4 players left, but still 4 teams left. So where does the separation come from? Because they're all on reasonably similar HP. Nate's got himself full Goblin somehow. Hunter to back up. That's Warrior Max as well. Let's go on down to KOT. He's maximum Warrior with the Undead as the backup at this point. And Slays at the very bottom is having trouble with his human-centric comp that hasn't yet hit its final form. That's his problem. Doesn't have the 6th human. But that'll come in time, and actually, the Riders, I think, are more than enough to get him there. I believe in Slays' comp. Meanwhile, at the very, very top, Nate's suffering. He still has some kind of weird 1-stars in this mix. He's relying on the Kraken and the Shaka Raka 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 Raka, which is his name. And I don't think I would. The Shaka Raka 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 and the Kraken just aren't consistent enough at the level 1. I suppose he doesn't have anything better to put in. So, it's not the worst call, but I'd like to see a little bit more durability, I guess. How much bank has he got? Oh my lord. He's already got 50 plus gems in the bank, so that man can just spend. He just leveled up. 4 undead off the back of that. That's the Dark Mage as well, so you get the Sorcerer buff. Beginning. This is really solid. If Nate doesn't win this game, I'll be shocked. His composition isn't particularly excellent, but his economy management was, and his economy is, and that means it's very, very hard to unseat him. Warrior is doing a little bit of a Demon Punisher thing. I'm not sure I believe in Demon Punisher into the ranged comps he's dealing with. Slays, for instance, is going to hammer him with these sorcerers, which is what you're seeing him play into right now. Nate's got enough hunters that'll give him trouble. It's a really bad time to be a full Demon Punisher comp, because they're not quite as durable as something like a full Warrior comp, and they don't quite have the mobility of something like an Assassin comp. So that'll reshuffle the look of our board. Nate actually loses around there. Despite me bragging about his economy, he's knocked quite low. I don't know why he's saving these Nightingales. The odds that he gets level 10 are low, and the Nightingales don't give him an inherent buff. If I'm him, I sell these Nightingales, and I invest them in getting rerolls on some of my more important units. It's actually kind of worrying. He's got a lot of bank, but only maybe 1 or 2 more round losses in him. Here we go. Nate with the game on the line. Lightbringer against him. These are the sorcerers that were causing him so much trouble. Slays, has he got him? I think he might. There's another recast. Slays doing so much from the Lightbringer Flamecaller duo in the back. That should be the game. One Hog Rider to save it. My lord, it's done it. A 3-star Hog Rider. 1 HP now on KOTH and Warrior. So maybe a turn from that. Full Demon Punisher on Warrior. Actually, 3-star on the Devourer. KOT 3. Cote still sticking with his 6 Warrior comp. Slays did not hit 6 humans, as I hypothesized. I'm going to stay with Warrior, because he, to me, is the weakest composition right now. Even KOT3 has some necessary stuns, which should give him the leg up in these rounds. Warrior's got none of that. He's just relying on pure damage. He gets matched into KOT3, who I previously said are the second weakest composition, and that will give him the edge. KOT3, with 1 HP, will win his round versus Slays. Nate should survive his. Everyone lives. Nobody dies. What a round.
I'm your best friend in a long.
So I don't know. Since I claimed that Warrior had the worst composition, he did get a 3-star Devourer. He did win a round versus Koji, who I would have thought could just stun him for years. I suppose the stuns have kind of been taken out. It's just General of War. 2-star Kraken. Into Nate. Huh. Nate should have this, right? Gets into the backline. Early cast. Full Kraken. Shaka Raka 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 as well. And this is actually really bad for Cozy. That should be the round cut and dry. He's gone. How's Warrior doing? Warrior's gone as well. Nate lives. Slays lives but loses. It's a 1v1 now for the game. Slays versus Nate. I need to put a cone of shame on my dog, so talk me through during this AI round. She's not a bad dog, but I did put some medicine on her earlier, and she's currently trying to lick away at the medicine. I'm a little bit worried that will result in the dog throwing up, which will then result in me having to clean up the dog throw, which will then result in me being existentially depressed. Alright. I'm back. I did it while talking. It's kind of professional I am. Slays has a lot to work up to. He's got more bank, but he's behind the level. Nate hit level 10 real quietly, real recently. This is Double Guru. Alright, 2-star General of War. Doesn't have any bank to roll for the final Nightingale. Do you roll for anything here, Slays? I don't think he can. He's going to opt to save. Okay. It's all on the line for this. 1 round left in game number 1 of Group B. 1 round's worth of HP on both players. Slays his front line, does a decent amount off the bat, but the Shaka Raka interrupts his whole team, and the follow-up CC is so good from Nate. That's the stun chain he was hoping for. It doesn't seem to have changed the result, though. You can see that Lightbringer Flamecooler duo just holding strong in the back lines. The front line does its job, it takes its beating, and Slays holds off the back of the Sorcerers. Simultaneously, Nate wins on his board. The Sorcerers don't get their rolls on Nate's board, and we've got another round. Nate's got nothing in the bank, so I'll switch our POV over to the bank view. See if there was anything he could have buy. He'll invest in the rerolls, and I agree with that. There's no sense saving right now. But we'll have to see if he's able to follow through from it. He feels safe, content, because that previous round did go well for him. But I feel all it takes is a little bit more focus onto his backline, like has been generated here as the stuns lock down the Sorcerers, and that's the game real quick. Goodbye, Slays. He's out first. Nate, for Chaotic Nate, will win out the round and the game. 1 extra point of HP as well. Well, 10 extra points, so 1 extra point. And leaves them with 41 points for Chaotic Max. Not Fast, Not Furious, which is Warrior and Dayplay, come in 3rd. That'll get them 20 points. Gut Slayers came in 2nd for 30 points, leaving Dublin Ducks with just 10. I should note the doc says Chaotic Max, but it's Nate, so I'm going to change it. So here are your final scores out of game number 1. 40 points, 41 points rather, for Chaotic Knight. Gut Slayers with 30 in 2nd place. Not Fast, Not Furious with 20 in 3rd, and just 10 for the Dublin Ducks. Alright. That's really close. Which has got to be worrying, because remember the score to beat is 87 points. That was the record set by the team that won in Group A. You've got to earn more points than that if you want the prizing. Don't go far. We'll be right back with game number 2 here in Group B in just about 5 minutes. I'm going to let my dog out and refill my water. When we come back, it's the final game of Chess Rush tonight. Thank you so much for watching, and don't go far.
tell me something new. You waited for someone to save you and left me all alone. I wanna tell you something new. You drove us both into a wall, but the only hurt was me. It's the longest night of my life, and the longest goodbye I've cried. I cried away into the night, and I contemplate for a while. When you love someone, you just can't stop. Spin the wheels until they drop. Don't you wish I would've
Welcome back to the Chance Rush Co-op Clash Invitational presented by Premier Gaming. My name is still TJ, or TJ as normal human beings call me, and I'm still all alone. See? It was perfect with the music. I was playing into it. I wish I could say I've planned it out, but I would have delayed it a little bit more. So that I set it like in sync with the music. Just kind of happened. Here are the scores for game number 2. Of course, the way things currently stand, in order to win the tournament, the top team from the end of this game, the end of Group B, needs to come out with a score higher than the top team in Group A. If you're like, but I wasn't here to watch Group A. Well, that sucks. You can catch the VOD over on the official Premier Gaming YouTube channel, however. So you need not live so uninformed. It was very fun. The top score, spoilers, cover your ears if you're going to watch it later, was 87 points. That was Dark Promise taking the win. So the top team needs to earn more than 87 points. There is one team that is easily within the striking distance of doing that. That is Chaotic Knight. Of course, the way our scoring system works, just for a quick recap, you get a grand total of 40 points for a first place finish. Then after that, we increment by 10. So, second place gets 30, third gets 20, and fourth gets 10. We also grab an extra 1 point as a bonus for every 10 health points you, as a team member, have. So if you finish the game perfect, then that's 100 points, 100 HP points for both players, which means 10 points for each player, which means an extra 20 points on top, which means that you get 60 points as a total, which means the Dublin Ducks could technically win this. 60, 70, 80? No, they'd be short. Only Guts, Slayers, and Chaotic Knight can win this tournament. Of course, the group is still winnable by I believe everyone, depending on how the results play out. Not Fast, Not Furious, which is the bottom team down there, would rely on Chaotic Knight hitting an early exit, but they could still technically win. So, you know, technicalities. Let's throw ourselves into the compositions. Warriors at the top of the screen. He got himself some riders to start things off. A little bit of a contrast to his name. And the same shenanigans is happening for Dapley. That man exited quite fast during game 1 of this group. He's got Marshlord to back him up for the Warlock buff right now. Front line's going to be Rider. Some Warrior being built there with the Ice Tusk, so... Sorry, that was a yawn. And I'm just really tired, man. Like, not because the game is bad. I'm just like... I was up at 2 a.m. because I was casting at 3 a.m. So, I've had a long day. And I cast from 3 a.m. until 9 a.m. So that's a lot of shouting. And then I took a break, and I played some Total War, which I would definitely recommend. Then I did some work. Then I came back to do this at the end of the night. So, I swear it's not that the game is boring. It's just that I've had a day of it. Guts is in 3rd place currently. He's running himself engineers right off the bat. Or how the announcer says it, engineers! Which is always very upsetting to me. 3 cyborgs. Will back up the 2 engineers to get himself a pretty solid start. I'm a cyborg engineer fan, but I've yet to see anyone successfully run it post. There's another yawn. I've yet to see a team successfully run it post legendary change. Because in order to win a game with cyborgs, you really do need the legendaries. And I've only seen one person get them, and I refuse to believe it was intentional. Slays, Guns' teammate, is not investing in the engineers. They've got themselves some warriors. Can go pretty much every which way from that. We didn't talk about Chaos Seraph. He's got Warlock buff behind some riders to start, giving himself flexibility as per normal. Nate is living that rider life as well. He'll back his up with the potential for Demon Punisher though. Not a whole lot else. Which means we'll skip all the way down to Warlord. The first player to exit game number 1 for Team Dublin Ducks. They have a grand total of 91 HP right now, which sounds real good until you realize it's round 6. It seems like they're doing the kind of hunter thing that a lot of people have tried to do today. The problem I've seen is that the hunters just haven't scaled fast enough, but they may have overcome that problem by having a 2-star stalker drone on round 7. So I kind of believe. Does he have any items on it? Oh, heck yeah, he does. Does the Forbidden Tome do anything? Increases mana regen, but the boy doesn't have mana. Huh. I don't believe the Forbidden Tome does anything. KOTH doing Assassin Warlock Goblin. Or a Sabwork, as I like to call the composition. That's fun because it's a smattering of all the best things. Typically for assassin compositions, you want something that can take a little bit more frontline though. And they don't have that. So, something to keep an eye on. Let's throw back to the very top of the board. Guts and Slays are still up there. Oh no. We got rid of the engineer buff. We're getting rid of the cyborgs. Not to say I don't agree, not to say I object, but I'm a little bit sad. I'd like to live in a world where the cyborgs saw the light of day. Is Warlord still? You could build into cyborgs. What a avatar, by the way. Like, some of the avatars are so heckin' cute. This little wizard doggy boy. I maintain that the best thing about Chest Rush is how cute the avatars are. Other games try to compete, but he's my anime wizard cat, and you can't have him. Warlord will win his round, while looking fashionable. Dropping Slays and Guts all the way down to the bottom of the scoreboard. Somewhat randomly, because they do have a higher team HP than Chaos Seraph and Nate, for instance, but whatever. Chest Rush. Nate's already down to 42 HP. What's going on here? Demon Punisher. I'm not feeling like Demon Punisher is all it's cracked up to be. A lot of emphasis being put on it, but we've yet to see a Demon Punisher comp go late. the ideal comp we've seen run with it during high and low play is Assassin. And I suppose it is worth noting we have not seen Assassin Demon Punisher yet. So, I'll withhold my judgment there. But consider me judging otherwise. 31 HP. This is round 9, folks. Were he German, 9 would be what Nate was yelling quite alarmedly as he lost round after round. I don't think that really works. That works in English because people are like, no, no, no. But that's not really how the German word 9 is used, even though it is translated often as no. They don't quite have the same connotation in speech. So. Anyway, my joke didn't work. Tone police on myself. Nate will be holding against the AI, so he's got around to sort things out. The improvements I'd like to see him make, probably the Warlock buff, if he can get it. He does have a Marsh Lord on his bench. He needs some range damage, and he needs to get some levels. Let's see where he goes with this. Level up, play the Head Reaper. That'll get him the Goblin buff. A little bit of a bonus attack speed for the entire board, but not a giant fan. Oh, I would definitely play the Nether Prince and the Martial Art here. Because getting the Warlock buff is such a big thing for the Demon Punisher compositions, in my opinion. It gives them so much more survivability. Would be very important to me. Slays eats him alive again. His Head Reaper does do a lot more. You can see the effect that one Goblin Assassin is having. Actually, might be enough to turn the round. It's all on a Wukong, and he too's down. Didn't hurt that he got a 2-star on the Templar, who was able to land a lot of healing, but very good Head Reaper. 31 HP, and he's stabilized. A little bit rough on the econ as well, though. Nate's down to just 4 gems. Got a level advantage over some of the players, but they have a massive economy advantage over him. There's that Warlock buff I was calling for. Getting himself all the way to 3 on the Goblin buff. He trades it out. I'm not sure I believe in that, because he's got 5 Rider. It's like, what's the point? You're not getting 6 Rider buff. So, chase the Goblin buff instead. Go all in on 4 Goblins, or he doesn't do the Berserker yet. Go all in 4 Goblins at some point in the future, or just get the Warlock buff right now. Because it's not like, it's not like the 5th Rider is doing you much good.
I'm in the mood for some barbecue.
I'd prefer to see him swap out, say, the 1-star Calamity. What's the Calamity doing for you? Put a Warlock in for that. Get the lifesteal. See what happens from that. There you go. What a gamer. On the same page as me. Now he's just got to kind of search for the Berserker. If he can get 4x on the Goblin buff, maybe it saves him. It's really a rough place to be tonight, though. My condolences. He's got just 24 points of HP. I'm going to check after this round, but Chaos Seraph is passing him. I'm going to guess it's that Ice Tusk. Or not Ice Tusk, sorry. Just because he doesn't have a whole lot of 2-stars. What are you being handed? Whoa! 1-star Rider. sure one's turn Nether Prince. Oh, he's got to do both those for the buffs. The Nether Prince is getting a Warlock buff as well as Punisher buff, so we can't drop that. And they're getting 4 Rider buff from the Unicorn Gambler. That's really rough. Is Chaos Seraph even running those? No, he's not even playing either of those. He is playing the Nether Prince. They're just... The Unicorn Cavalier is just sitting on his bench, though. Never a good sign. Has Nate's comp stabilized? Just maybe. His front line does pretty well. The Frost Lotus abilities are really hard to work into, for instance, when you're a slower melee-focused comp, because the Frost Lotus just gets so many free ticks. It's just damage after damage after damage. They're tanky enough, they can take that. Especially with the Warlock buff. The lifesteal you get as a demon is pretty immense. My foot was on my cord and I stood up and it jerked my head down. And I was like, who's standing on my headphone cord? And then it was me. I was the one standing on my headphone cord. You hate to see it. Self-sabotage of the first degree. The Forbidden Tome and stuff come through. Nate's holding pretty strong. Got some good items out of that last round. His econ's still in troubled water, but he may not need it to right the ship, because a couple more refreshes will grant him a 2-star on his Devourer. Or as I like to call them, Devourai. So I like that. We'll assume he's stable for now. I shall make that assumption until proven otherwise. Slays is sitting on 7 warriors. Which is a very exciting outcome for a game that is this early on. He's kind of gotten everything he wanted with regards to the warrior comp. That's a result of rolling pretty often normally, but he's got 40 gem as well. This is round 17, so not bad at all. A lot of 2-stars as well. 1-star Ice Tusk can go, but I like this comp. I'm proud of this comp. It's going to need some backline to kind of focus in with it as we get to late, but it's fine for now. Warrior is riding into victory, joined by a Sorcerer comp and a Hunter comp. He's got a little bit of all the kinds of damage, but as we've learned over the many weeks now of Chess Rush competitive play, having a little bit of everything is rarely good. It can certainly take you through the mid-game. But when you get to the late game, the most important thing is that your guys survive. And the meta kind of is built to prioritize that as opposed to taking on players, if that makes sense. Grand total of 35 HP left on Warrior. Kote with just 30 HP himself. He was trying to do Assassin and something, but it did not work out. He only got as far as Assassin.
2 warlocks, 2 goblins.
Those were some important levels up for him to get, though. That'll secure a lot of his defense structure against this. Which is kind of what we needed. He needs to be able to stay safe while doing his thing. Very scary from the Sword Dancer. Always ruining people's best laid plans, because that was genuinely a pretty good comp. But you know, Sword Dancer.
Two warlocks.
Dalfie's got just 34 points of HP. I apologize, I'm flagging fast. I complained about being tired at the start of this, and now I'm actually kind of struggling to keep my eyes open. It's the downside of solo casting when it's quite late your time. You know how it is. I shouldn't have to solo cast much longer. I have a couple people that want to be able to do this with me, who are very great and very nice, so hopefully I'll be able to work with them in the upcoming weeks. And I'll definitely, if I'm ever in a situation like this again, I'm learning I want to take a nap, because I was doing pretty good until this game. And then, oof, we hit the clock. We hit the wall. It may have been in about 37 minutes ago. Yeah, that would have been about the right time. So, Warrior and Dappling currently both on low double digits of HP. At the very, very, very bottom of this card. And of course, Not Fast, Not Furious, the team that was the first out last time. Warrior's still going for the 6 human comp, and he's actually pulled it off. He just completed his 6 human comp, which is massive. It could be a turning point. He's only got 4 rider, but he's got other riders to back it up, and that is a good move. Just sell the famine. Just sell the famine. You don't need a famine. Just sell the famine. Thank you. I don't know if he wants. So he could rush the he could rush the level up. I think that would be the right call if he tried to focus on that. Instead, he stays toward rerolls. Does end up a step behind Dapply, but he has a stronger core composition. You can see the effect of that Lightbringer. The sorcerers are just so strong. They'll win versus almost any composition. This is Dappling at the very, very bottom, which is 10 HP. All it'll take is one more loss for him to close out this game. Him and Warrior have kind of been on the same front for a while. Dapply is going to get his upgrade that he wanted. That's now a grand 2-star werewolf. He quite frequently has the ATF problem, the a troubled few problem from Group A. Of there's nothing wrong with your composition, you just don't have the stars to win. Versus Warlord, who's been scraping his way up the composition. Very confident at the end of the first game. Perhaps that has never been tempered. He plays pretty aggressive in this game and also gets taken out. This is still very scary for both bottom teams in the lineup, but one of them's got full Warrior with the backup of a Warlock, etc. The other one's got full Human Sorcerer, one away from full Rider. Actually has full rider on the bench. I'd be really excited if we saw someone coming back into this with a sliver of HP. Of course, that does minimize your chances of being able to turn this around. You do need... The score beat is 87 points. Sword Dancer from Kote will not close things out. We did lose Nate, Chaos Seraph's teammate, finally crumbling here. Not fast, not furious, quite low. Chaotic Nate down to quite low HP on 2 of their team members. Top of the cards, Slays is down to 20 HP. He was doing alright. 6 warrior comp, and then he's kind of hit the crest. This is the point of the game where having 6 warriors no longer wins you rounds, and he's no longer winning rounds. Guts is at the very top. He too is 6 warriors, but he's got a whole bunch more behind it. Goblin, Warlock, Undead. All the buffs you kind of want to accelerate a good front line. I also appreciate he's trying to get pretty diverse here. You can see Flame Cooler on his bench, Light Cooler in his action, Lightbringer. Rather, that's just so that he has other things to fall back on if the warrior starts getting him in trouble. He can pivot towards the human comp, which would be a joy to watch. Let me just say that. Kote does win the exchange on his board. The Scarlet Lord's up next, so we'll ride along with the lowest HP members. Chaos Seraph finally loses on his. He's down to single digits, just 2 HP. Only 3 crystals left in the bank as well. Oh no. Coming into the Vampire with just 2 HP is very scary. Going into the Vampire with just 2 HP on full rider is doubly scary. I don't see a way for Chaos Seraph to pivot away from the rider, which isn't an ostensibly bad composition. It's just not my favorite. I don't like the more limited directions you can pivot. He's trying to do the full Demon Punisher as passed by Nate here, which isn't a bad idea, because he's got 2 pretty solid elements of the Demon Punisher being passed. That's, of course, the 2-star Scourge and 2-star Devourer and 2-star Nightingale. Then he's playing the Scourge and playing the Lilith as part of comps he already owns and getting a pretty free benefit. So, very good team play. Now low double-digit HP on a couple of different members. Slays down to just 17 HP as well. He's got himself 6 warriors for the front line. Lots of warrior comps this game. This should be chaos gone. And he is. That means Warrior's actually out first, but our first team out is Chaotic Knight, which is mind-blowing. Remember, they won the last game. They leave this one with just 10 more points, putting them at 51 points overall. Actually, Warrior follows not far behind. That'll be 20 points to them. Warrior and Delphi are from Not Fast, Not Furious, which puts them at a grand total of 30 points. So, Dublin Ducks, or did I get that wrong? No, I did not. Dublin Ducks, Kote and Warlord now have the lead of this game. It is Gut Slayers coming in with the 2nd place. Kote's board is full assassin. Some druids as well. How does it fare against more standard HP? Alright is the answer. Slay's knocked down to just 4 HP as his more standard board is harassed. He's got Goblin Warlock stuff still behind this 6th warrior, but his pivot towards human is incomplete at this stage. He's got a Flamecaller. He can just play this Flamecaller instead of, like, a lot of these things, and he'd be fine. I think in his head, the 6th warrior is more important. I'd say play it for the Goblin buff. Get rid of the Voodoo Elder, play the Flamecaller. Because having the Flamecaller is more important than having the attack speed. Because the second you're committed to sorcerers, the attack speed doesn't matter as much. Maybe generates you mana a little bit faster, but who cares? Here's the problem, though. The assassins just eat up his mage backline. No mage left. No future left. He slays his entire team as mages. That should be the round. Poof, it is. Guts left on just 16 HP at the end of that display. Does have his work cut out for him. He's been on a bit of a lost tear as well. 6 warriors, 5 humans. And that comfy little background behind him. Warlord, by the way, making the Hunter comps work. Immediately after I talk about how the Hunter comps are a little bit weak, he's making this happen. This is off the back of a really solid Stalker drone, and then the Famines, the double Oceanborn are there for the CC. You have the Kraken for the big stun on the 2-star, and you can even have this small stun from the Shaka Raka Raka. As long as he gets it off, it's worth it. There's the pickup and the die. The Shaka Raka 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 will not get the damage, though. You can see what's coming his way. Guts' mage CC is very strong. But Guts loses to Coty. Off screen, Coty has the win. And I didn't catch that HP. Hold up, I'm going to frantically alt tab because I didn't expect that round to end. How much HP did they have on the end of the round? 10, 20. That's 30 points between them, which gets them 3 extra points for that first place result. Dublin Ducks get 43 points on top of the 20 they already had. That's 63 points for the Dublin Ducks. Gut Slayers came in second. That's 20 more points, which puts them at 50 points. And there you have it. The results for the day. I apologize. I really did flank towards the end of that. I'm going to make extra sure in advance I have a co-caster next week, because you could definitely tell I was dying. And that's not a good look. My defense is that I had a long day, but I hard crashed. Anyway, there's your scoreline. That's 63 points for the Dublin Ducks. It's the winners of Group B. Congratulations to them. However, that means the Dark Promise from Group A are our winners, with a grand total of 87 points over the course of their 2 games. That's actually a lot of points as well. That may be a record for the last few weeks. 87 points is not bad at all. Thank you so much for watching for today. I'm actually write out the result. Congratulations to Dark Promise. As I said, thank you very much for bearing with me today. I know I was actually super happy with how engaging I was being up until that last game, because I was like, whoa, I'm really kind of handling this solo cast, despite the fact that I'm pretty tired and I've done a lot today. And then I, like, hit 7 o'clock my time. And as I said, I've been up from, like, 3 a.m., 2 a.m.? 2 a.m. probably. And so I just hit 7 o'clock and it turned off. I could not function anymore. And that was very audible. So I shall strive not to have that happen again. Next week I'll ensure I have